and leave them until they're cold. And then you've got these. But anyway, it's a bit cool cooking. Yeah. Cooking is all about how it tastes, how it feels, how it smells. So just give this a stir until it's all melted. Keep stirring so it doesn't catch the bottom of. If the mixture comes straight off the bowl, then you've creamed it sufficiently. If it doesn't, stir it. Just like that. Perfect. I'm going to share with you this really good recipe. Do you remember those midget gems, or I think they're called ice gems now, but those tiny little biscuits with the royal icing topping on the different colours? And I used to have them when I was little. You bite the hard icing off the top and then eat the biscuit last. Now you can still get them in the shops, and my children were only allowed them as a special treat, and I've been itching to recreate my own homemade versions of these. So I'm going to show you how to do this. It's a great recipe to get the children involved with. We're using rubbing in method. You can do it in a food processor or a mixer if you wish, but I'm going to do it with my fingers. First of all, 200 grams of plain flour and 100 grams of hard butter. Now, the easiest way to do this is just toss the butter into the flour and then use a round bladed knife to chop this into little bits. The idea when you're rubbing in is that you have dirty fingers and clean palms, which means you only use the very, very tips of your fingers, and when the fat and the flour is all rubbed in, your palms should be completely clean, like that. You know it's ready when there's no more lumps of butter and it looks like fine breadcrumbs. And a really good way to check is take your fingers out of the bowl, give the bowl a quick shake, and then all the lumps will come to the top, and just keep going till there's no lumps left. Into this we're going to add in 100 grams of caster sugar, and then bring that together with 1 egg and about half a tablespoon of golden syrup. Just use a knife to stir that together until it forms a dough. Now that will be quite sticky. This needs to go in the fridge wrapped in cling film or wrapped in some baking parchment for about an hour to chill to make it easier to roll out. So flatten the dough, wrap it in some baking parchment, make sure it's sealed at the edges so it doesn't dry out in the fridge, and then pop that into the fridge for about an hour to chill off and firm up. So after an hour your dough should have chilled off, and now we can roll it out. If it is still a little bit sticky, then just sprinkle a little bit of flour on it. If you roll it between 2 sheets of baking parchment, you won't need to add quite so much flour, and also it won't stick to your rolling pin. If you haven't got any baking parchment, then cling film works really, really well. I'll go at making some of these little ones as well, being very careful that I don't press too hard and I get the tip out at an angle so it doesn't stick in, just like that one did. If it does, make sure you've got a skewer handy just to get the dough out, and you can just squeeze that up again and redo it. Oh. This is what happens when you're trying to do it on camera and do it looking professional. It always goes pear-shaped. There we go. Don't these biscuits realise that they're on TV and they've got to behave themselves? So once your midget gems come out of the oven, they should be lovely and slightly golden brown, not too dark. Now comes the faffy bit, because you need to mix up royal icing. Now royal icing is made from icing sugar and some kind of egg white. You can buy powdered royal icing sugar at supermarkets. It's by far the cheapest way of doing it. If you use raw egg white, then you are risking contamination with salmonella, and they shouldn't be given to children under 5, pregnant women, or the elderly, or anybody who's got an autoimmune problem or whose immune system is compromised. So you can get an ingredient called 2 Chicks, which is pasteurised egg white from supermarkets. Use that and add it to your normal icing sugar, or buy the powdered royal icing from the supermarket. It's just way easy. Now you need to mix that in the mixer until it gets to stiff peak, and then add a little bit more water so it comes to soft peak, which means it's just slightly flopping over the edge as you pull a knife out of the icing. Rather than standing up straight, it's slightly flopping. And then you've got to colour your icing. Otherwise you're just going to have plain white midget gems or ice gems. That doesn't quite cut the mustard. So colour it, use whatever food colourings you prefer, and then you need some piping bags with an open star nozzle. Now this is a Wilton 1M nozzle, and this is great for the big ones. Hold your biscuit, squeeze, and then twist at the top, and you've got your beautiful ice gem. Now you need to do this with lots of different colours and lots of different icings, and then leave them to set overnight to go really hard. Now for the little ones, obviously the 1M nozzle will be too big, so I've switched. This is a Wilton number 21. These are fiddly. Look. Also I've put some baking parchment on the top of my cooling rack, because these are so tiny they would just fall through. There you go, gorgeous midget gems, or ice gems as they call them nowadays. Ta-da!